Hey, greetings everybody out there in YouTube land, and to all of my subscribers and people who watch this show regular. Welcome here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock, hard rock, heavy metal, pop metal, anything that is rock in general. There are a few things that I don't talk about, but for today, we're going to be talking about quite a bit of stuff actually. So this is an episode of This Week. Comes out at noon, usually on Sundays. I've been trying to be consistent about it and been doing a reasonably good job about that, which is I'm happy with. The weekends are much easier for me. I can get a lot done because of not having too much distractions, where work during the week really kind of hampers me quite a bit. But anyways, I am happy to be here today and do this episode of This Week. So for those of you who are new to the channel and have not seen an episode of This Week before, This Week is just an episode in which I talk about the shows that I normally do during the week and what's going to be on them. So what's on the channel for the week, right? Also, if I'm running a series, I may talk a little bit about that. Maybe I'll talk about stuff that is in the upcoming weeks or upcoming months. And if I've made any blunders, I'll talk about that in the past. And we only have the one blunder this week. For some reason, when I was doing commonalities compared, I don't think it was the last one. I think it was the one before with Neil and no, it was the one after Neil and John Bonham. And I forgot to change the drummer stats, so I do apologize for that. That was just a trying to rush too fast to get it done, and leaving that silly word on there. But I changed it, so hopefully, I think it was bass players. Yeah, it was a couple of bass players. So, and it was the Wetton and Greg Lake one, which I left as drummers. So I do apologize for that. So on to the show now for the rest of this. So normally this week is the first episode, although when we're running a series, we always have one in the morning as well. So hopefully if you are watching this now, you can go back and watch the series episode this morning, which always comes out at 8. I try to do them always at 8 in the morning. So it's kind of the first thing that I can check on when I get to work to see if it's gone up. That works good for me. Okay, so the next episode that usually come up is a show that Ben and I put on every week, which is called Commonalities Compared. This show actually replaced Ben's album challenge. I was getting a bit long in the tooth. We wanted to do something fresh, so Ben had this idea that we should do something like this. I had done something similar to it with What's the Difference, but this is much more straightforward. It makes more sense. So he came up to it. Recently, I shortened it to just Commonalities Compared. It was getting too long for the board and was making it difficult to put who's participating in this for the week. So the ones that are participating in the episode for this week are Cozy Powell, drummers Cozy Powell and Tommy Aldridge. Now, Cozy, I know from here on the Rainbow. This is the first kind of one I heard him, but I know he also played some time with Black Sabbath, and he actually played with Emerson Lake and Powell. So he's been around. He's done some other stuff too. Excellent drummer. So we'll be talking about him and comparing him with Tommy Aldridge, of course, with Ozzy Osbourne. But I also know he's done some other stuff too. I'm going to do a little bit more research into Tommy. Although I've heard quite a bit of his stuff, there's some stuff I was curious about. So I'll look into that this week and later today and see what I can find out that I might not know. And then we will be doing that episode tonight at 8 o'clock on Sunday. Okay, the next episode out of the tank is Monday night's look back at a classic rock album. I've chosen an album, and I just have this really premonition view that I've already done this one. And though I couldn't find it on my list, so it may be in the playlist, so I will go back and look. And if it isn't there, then I will be doing another album that I have as a backup. So I'm going to check that later today. But the one that I have planned to do is Marillion's Clutches at Straws. But I just have an overwhelming feeling I've already done this. So again, I will look through my list later today when I'm doing the Commonalities Compared and see if it's actually on my playlist, because it's not in my play. I have a I write down what I also do in a book as well so that I can check that relatively quick without having to go through my entire playlist to find it. But I just have this feeling that I've done this already. So at any rate, if I haven't, that's the one we will be doing. Okay, the next episode, Out of the Tank, is on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. It's called Decades, which is a bi-weekly episode. It alternates with the other show, which is albums that didn't really measure up or what I hoped for. And so Decades is going this week. We're doing the 1990s. So I have the overwhelming task of picking only 10 albums that were my favorite 10 for the decade of the 1990s. The 80s was really tough. The 70s was really tough. I don't expect the 90s to be as tough, but still will be relatively tough. So I got to pick 10 albums from my list that I want to put in there for my 10 favorite albums from the 1990s. So that's for Decades this week, Tuesday at 8. Wednesday at 8, we have favorites. Now, last week I was supposed to do this one, 25 songs that survived the radio burnout, but decided to hold off another week because I wasn't getting any of the time I needed to put this list together. I had put some of it together, but not enough of it I didn't want to rush it, so I pushed it off for another week, and we put a episode of another 5 albums that grew on me. We put that last week instead, so that was going to come out at some point, so it's good that I had it as a backup to fill in there for that day. Wednesday at 8. Excuse me. Getting a bit of a frog in the throat here. So the next show out is Ranking the Songs this week, which alternates with album sides. We did album sides last week. We're doing Ranking the Songs this week. The album I've chose for Ranking the Songs comes from a band that many people like on this channel, including myself. The Police, Reggatta de Blanc. I decided that this is the Police album I wanted to rank the songs off of. I may have actually done this somewhere else, but I'm not sure about that. It may have ended up actually be on one of my favorite episodes. If it is, I will switch out for a different Police album. But again, I've had a couple of those now. It's getting tougher to remember all of the stuff I've done. We've got over 1,300 videos now going here. But if it isn't on that, if it isn't the one I've ranked, it will be the one I rank. If it is, if I happen to have already done it on favorites, I will pick one of the other 2 Police albums that I wanted to rank, which was Zenyatta Mondatta and Synchronicity. Those are the 2 that I had in mind. So just wanted to give you the ups on that in case you're surprised if I come back with something I haven't done. Okay, that will be Thursday at 8. On Friday at 8, we have Ranking the Albums, and this will be the finals between these 2 albums. Led Zeppelin, The Presence, and it'll be up against Iron Maiden's Book of Souls, which may end up having a prop for it by next Friday because I seen it at the record store I go to, Encore on King Street in Kitchener, and if it's there this week, it'll probably be my purchase for the week. And I will add it to so that both albums have a fair shake here. I'll try to be fair about it. So we have Led Zeppelin's Presence versus Iron Maiden's Book of Souls. I'm looking forward to this. I really don't know which way I'm going to lean here, I have to be honest. This album has really had some up and comings with me lately, and the other album I think is just absolutely great. So I'm looking forward to see what my mind decides on for that day. So that will be Friday at 8. So Saturday, which is the next episode that will come out, is on What's New. We have Sycophant. Yes, this is the one that I got. It's been on my list for some time now. I keep a list of albums that I want to review, and I put them in there, but sometimes I'll jump around to try and get newer ones in. And some of these end up staying off for a little bit longer than I cared for. So Sycophant will be the next one that we're doing. I believe it's a self-titled album too. I didn't see a title for it anywhere. It's not on my list as having a title, so I'm assuming it's a self-titled album. The thing that pushed me to do it this week was from the Prog Corner when he did his the best of 24 so far, or whatever he called it, but that's basically what it was, what he's talked about, or what he's listened to in 2024, and he made his list of 20 of, I think it was 20, was it 20 or 25 albums for the year? I can't remember. I think it was 20. Anyways, excellent list that he did on the Prog Corner, and this was one of the 2 albums that I really wanted to review, and so since he did that and now I'm hyped up to do it, I'm going to do Sycophant this week for what's new. I'm looking forward to this. Should be an interesting album. I think it'll be fun to do as well. So that's it for the regular shows this week. That one will actually come out at 8 o'clock too. All my night shows usually are at 8 o'clock unless I specify otherwise. We're also continuing with the series that we're running for the month of July, my 31 albums that introduced me to these bands. We've got some really good ones coming up here. I suspect that there could be a lot of conversation about a lot of these albums. I had a lot of conversation about the albums I put out last week. It's really difficult to do something like this because you may really love the album that introduced you to the band, but maybe the band's faded a bit. So then where do you put them? Do you put them ranking lower down because the band hasn't aged the way you liked it? Or do you go with the album and put the album higher up because the album is still great? Or maybe the album's faded and the band has really risen. So what I tried to do was, I tried to do it by album primarily. I think there might be 1 or 2 instances in the list where the albums were virtually tied, so I went with a group. That's generally what I tried to do. But anyways, I've got some really strong albums this week. I think going to be a lot of conversation about at least half of these albums, I think. Yeah, interesting stuff. Really wasn't sure where I wanted to put some of these too, because yeah, there's very little separating them at this point in the list. And then you'll have the final 3, which are right at the top, that are just absolutely killers. So anyways, that's what I'm doing for the series. And then next month's series, I actually wanted to talk about it, but I'm not sure where I wrote it down. So I think what we'll do is we'll talk about that next week, and I'll make sure I put it on my list to talk about for the next episode of this week, which is episode number 102. Yeah, we've done 100. I've done 102 of these. That seems mental to me. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of this week. If you have, please hit the like and subscribe. Those things really help me. I'm really close to 800 subscriptions now. I think I'm 1 or 2 off. And, just motivates me to work harder, that's all. And if you have anything to say about anything I've said today, you can make your comments in the comments section below. I try to be open-minded and listen to everybody's opinion. You know, if somebody wants to attack me personally, well, I can tell you one thing. I never made any of these albums. I never produced any of these albums. And I'm not a member of any of these bands. So it's just me. I'm just an average guy who loves his rock music, that likes to talk about it. And if you want to talk about it, I'm all game for that. So anyways, I hope everybody has a good night and a good evening. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And from Prog Monster to the rest of my subscribers and people on YouTube, have a good day and take care. Bye.